September 11, 2000. Bleh. Today, September 11th, 2012, marks the 11th anniversary of when the Twin Towers. Blah, blah, blah. Today, September 11th, 2012, marks the 11th anniversary of when. So today is the 11th anniversary of September 11th. As anyone knows, whether or not you are from America or if you're in another country, you know what happened on September 11th, 2001. It was a day no one will ever forget. It was the first time anyone in my generation had witnessed an attack on American soil against Americans by foreigners, by somebody that truly hated our country. And I'll never forget where I was that day. On September 11th, 2001, I was in the 7th grade. And I'll never forget, I was freaking out because I had a math test that I wasn't ready for. So I was studying in the car on the way to school, and school started at like 8 a.m. And when you were going to my school, to my elementary school, you would have a stoplight before crossing the highway and then going into the school. And the light was out, the stoplight was out. And I was just like, oh, that's really weird. And even my parents were like, oh, that's weird. Maybe there's just something wrong with the wiring. So I get into school and all the lights are out. Come to find out that there was a power outage in the area. And of course I was thinking they should have just canceled school. This isn't a big, this is stupid. I'm not ready for this exam. They should have canceled school so that I could have had more time, being extremely selfish. So the day progressed, and it was getting closer and closer to my math test, and right before the class before my math test, I think the lights came back on, throwing out any hope that they were going to cancel school. So we get to our math, I get to my math class, and it's about 11 o'clock, and there's an announcement over the intercom by the principal, and she says everyone has to report to their homerooms. School is being put on hold for now. So of course everyone in our class, we have no idea what's going on. We're just like, oh, this is awesome, I wasn't, and of course we're all like, oh, I wasn't ready for that test. Oh, me either. I'm so glad it's a sign that we should it's awesome. We're so lucky. Slowly but surely we saw our friends being pulled out of school. Their parents came and picked them up, and they left, and no one was telling us what was going on. So we would ask the teachers, we'd be like, what's going on? Why is everyone getting pulled out? And we originally thought that they decided to end school early because of the power outage, because they were worried that it was going to happen again. Turns out that wasn't the case. It was because of 9/11, because of the attacks. And it was scary seeing each person get pulled out. And it was scary seeing each person get pulled out and not knowing what was going on, not knowing why everyone was leaving. And I happened to be one of the last people to be pulled out because for whatever reason, I think my parents weren't able to get out of work early enough, because everyone was trying to figure out what the next course of action would be, because this had never happened. And there was no protocol. Businesses weren't sure if they should stay open. So it was new to everyone. Finally, my mom picked me up around I want to say lunchtime, maybe a little bit after that. And she wouldn't tell me what was going on because she didn't really know either. She knew that there was some national crisis going on, so her first instinct was to make sure that we had food in the house, because she didn't know if we were going to be on lockdown or whatever. Because my mom's from the Philippines, and she grew up when they were in lockdown, when they weren't allowed out of their houses at a certain time. There was a curfew in the Philippines. This was a while ago, but so she wasn't sure what was going on. She wasn't sure if we had food, if that was going to be the same situation. So she went to Costco, and it was in the afternoon. And anyone that's been to Costco, it's like a wholesale club, kind of like a BJ's or a Sam's Club. And we went there, and it was deserted. It was completely empty, and the mall is right next to it, and it was empty. Like, the parking lots were empty. There was no sign of life. We had no idea what was going on. So when we came home, there were a bunch of messages on the machine, just from everyone that we knew, friends and family, whether they were in the United States, or if they were from the Philippines, or if they were in Canada. Everyone was calling us to make sure we were okay, and that we got home safe, and what was going on. Today, obviously, in class, the first thing we discussed was the significance of today. And it was just, it was weird because, like, I was in the 7th grade, and, like, oh, of course, the freshmen that were there were like, oh, I was in, like, the 1st grade or 2nd grade, and I'm just like, first of all, I felt old, but it scared me a little bit because they were just like, you know, we didn't know what was going on. And of course they discussed it in classes and, like, history classes and stuff, but, like, I feel like September 11th, oh God, I'm just gonna start crying. I feel like September 11th to us, I feel like September 11th is just going to be like any other significant day in American history. It's eventually just going to be another day where something happened, it's in the books, and future generations won't exactly understand what happened. Just like Pearl Harbor, just like the assassination of JFK. These are all things any American student knows, or anyone that took U.S. history knows. These are dates that you know. But September 11th, because I've lived it, it obviously means... But September 11th, because I lived it, it means more to me than those days. Which, I'm not saying that they weren't significant, obviously. But I have an emotional tie to that day. So, what I'm saying is... I guess what I'm saying is, I'm just really worried that future generations... So what I'm saying is, I'm just really worried that future generations won't fully understand the impact of today, the impact of what happened 11 years ago. Because eventually they're not gonna care, because they're just gonna say what we say now. It was in the past, just, it's over, let's move on. But we can't. We shouldn't. We as a nation should never forget the people that lost their lives, the people that have fought for our country, the firefighters and the policemen that came that day to serve and aid all those in those buildings. We should remember the people that were on that flight. We should remember the people that were in the Pentagon that day. We should remember everyone that was affected that day, that are still affected today. That day has shown just how strong our country can be. It has shown how strong the people of this nation are. Never forget the significance of today, because it's impacted your life more than you could ever know.